30
No,
per
business.
term eh.
Oh.
Nasa 30, 35.
120 a year siya.
Pag medicine, 100,000, law, 100,000.
Nursing.
Nasa 100 na ngayon,
Okay.
50%.
But going back to the 5-layer model, this is just my model, just to help you. Okay. There are five layers beginning with the letter C. So this one, I call it the conduits. Connectivity. Okay, it's your Linux box, your broadband, your browser, etc., etc. All those things that make you part of the network. You know, the phenomenon of open source, okay, and now broadband. So that's the conduits layer. The second layer is your first layer determines what can happen in terms of the second layer content. If you don't have broadband, forget video. Di ba? If you don't have 3G in the provinces, forget it. Okay? So, content. So, if you don't have 3G in the provinces, mag-SMS na lang tayo. Huwag tayong magda-download ng YouTube, huwag tayong mag-Facebook, etc. etc. Okay? Okay, in terms of learning, okay, so you have materials. So this is where you have your blogs, your wikis, your videos, your music, whatever. So the methods that you're mentioning, okay, will be in this layer. If we know what's here, then let's use the best, most effective, okay, to design a new conversation. It doesn't have to be, okay, because you have a new set of building blocks. So it doesn't have to be the 50-hour lecture, 1 hour, 3 times a week type of thing. Okay, so that's all part of your, call it your conversational spaces, learning spaces, and things like that. So that's where the creativity of the Pinoy comes in. We know we're creative. Anybody here wishes to dispute that? Okay. No, di ba?
You said so.
Following the course of business standards.
Makakagawa, because of our abilities, di ba? Makakagawa tayo ng sarili nating sangkap or sarili nating mix or whatever. Ingenuity. Okay? So, you're talking about this. I would love to talk about this thing. I'm just introducing these first 2 layers. Because if this is not clear to you, and we don't have a common understanding of this, okay, we won't be able to meet eye to eye here. Is that valid? Okay. And then the 4th level is your community. The last is your commerce. So in our particular case, it's where network-based and digital is now your e-commerce. Okay? But before you get here, you have to fortify the 4 other levels. And there are different driving forces for each level. Like sa content, ang problema dyan, copyright. Di ba? Sa conversation, yung time ng mga Pinoy, sa creativity ng Pinoy. Community, wala tayong problema. Sa e-commerce, ang kalaban mo is the incumbent. Okay? Sa conduits, ang problema natin is infrastructure. So there are different forces for each of those layers. Okay, so I'm just sticking to this thing. That's why, if you recall, I called it librarianship. I did not call it curriculum development, courseware, and things like that. Kasi, what's gonna happen? If it's courseware, oh, CHED and DepEd will have to have something to say. Right? Dadaan yan. Pag librarianship, may budget ba tayo sa libro? Oo, sige. Charge mo na lang doon sa budget sa libro. Do you understand now? Okay. Let me give you a fact, okay? Kunwari, 95% of our high schools don't have a book library. Okay? The 5% that have libraries have books donated from the 1960s and the 1970s. Talk about national competitiveness. None of the libraries even have, the People Power book because it's expensive. None of the libraries have the Philippine Encyclopedia of Culture and Arts because it's expensive. And you can only buy one copy. And if you were lucky enough to buy one copy, one smart student will tear out the page, bring it home.
Sabihin ko sa amin. Assignment ko po siya.
Diba?
Walang photocopy.
Diba?
Gawa.
Okay.
Gawa.
Okay. So let me go back. Are you okay with your observation? Thank you. Okay, FACET is my Diocese of Pagadian Schools na project. Filtered academic content for enhanced teaching. Filter. That is the key. Kasi you're building a walled garden around your audience. And the control is with the teacher, the administrator, the librarian. If this is what you want our students to learn, so be it. Same thing applies in college. If we're heavy on science, we have tens of thousands of science videos here. If you were into the arts, let's have lots of arts. If you were into textbook, let's have lots of textbook. YouTube is on its 7th anniversary. Okay? For every 1 minute, guess how much video is uploaded on YouTube in any given day? 72 hours. 3 hours worth of video for every minute. So what if there was a mechanism to grab, download, curate the 1%, the 0.1%, the 0.01% that have academic relevance? Okay? So FACET is like YouTube plus Google Docs or Google Drive without the internet. Inside your campus. Okay? And to some educators, especially parochial schools and things like that, wow, tanggal yung sakit ng ulo namin. Virus, porn, Facebook, etc. etc. Talagang learning. Talagang academic interaction. Pero you're not depriving the child of anything that, the best stuff that YouTube and the open source video community has to offer. Leonardo's laptop. What if Leonardo da Vinci had a laptop? Isipin mo, wala pa siyang laptop, napaka-creative niya na. What if he had a laptop?
No
Virus na.
Mona Lisa.
Walang Mona Lisa.
Facebook
na lang.
This book offers a model. Okay, Schneiderman from MIT says, collect collect. So I've shown you it's easy. It's not rocket science to collect. Okay? Relate. Ano ba yung requirement ni Prof? Uy, ano ba tingin mo gagawin natin sa project natin, etc. etc. Connect natin itong video na to with this video, with this plot, with this video. Mash up. Tapos let's create our new work, our transformative work. New media. Then let's put it up and donate it to our classmates, donate it to our school, donate it to our school district, donate it to our country, donate it to the world. Possible? Not possible? Of course. Possible? So why aren't we doing?
it's a change management thing. It's a process, and change cannot be had as not
Estudyante mo ba ito sa change management?
No, we're still in that status quo phase. That there has to be a core number of champions for that very valid and very innovative way of education to be interspersed through our educational arcade system.
Educational arcade?
Arcade.
Archaic. Akala ko arcade. which is okay,
So,
again.
Karen.
Remember, you know, Harvard Business School, I think Romy was mentioning over lunch. Harvard Business School, you know, uses a different kind of method, right? What do they call their method of teaching? Kasi tayo, lecture method tayo eh, di ba?
Problem
What's the Harvard?
Problem solving?
Case method. Case, di ba? So now, Harvard is moving away from case. Right? What is Harvard moving towards? Gaming and simulation. Oh, pag sinabi niyang arcade, rinig ko arcade, di ba? Okay, advance ka na, alam mo na yung arcade, ha? Yung ba yung ibig sabihin?
Na.
Arcade or arcade?
Arcade. Status quo. The old school.
Interactive learning.
Any questions? Collect? That's easy. There's technology for that. Relate. Kaya niyo, di ba? Yes.
Well, I guess that's Harvard, but because you say it's gaming,
Hmm.
it's very effective if your students are of a high, certain caliber, different. So if you're going to apply that, I guess that's Harvard. But if you apply it to, let's say, a community school, I don't know whether that method would work as effective. I mean the gaming, because obviously when it's gaming, strategy and
Skills.
your knowledge, the foundations which will allow you to win have to be at a level that you're really comfortable with it, so that you don't lose sight of the significance of the activity.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But what you're saying is allow you to win. Now, if you go back to the Olympic spirit, it is not in the winning, but in the
Game.
The spirit.
in the participating.
How you play the game. How you
That's true, but you're talking about a business school, and I'm just taking it one step further.
Okay.
And that's why, well, from my perspective, it's a business school,
Yes.
and I'm sure those guys aren't there to participate. It's there, but
They have to win. Profits.
you know, if you're the student there and you're driven, and if you're, I'm sure, even here, if you come from a certain school, we don't like to say it, but you know,
Say it.
it's there, yeah. You know, you want to go one step ahead and say yes, you want to win. Although we manifest it in different ways, but at the end of the day, it's winning. And I sometimes that's not true all the time,
Yeah.
but to certain, especially in that type of group.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
And for one, in terms of why is it not yet being implemented or initiated? For one, the schema, the body of knowledge when it comes to education is still in that the old school thing. The simulation and all are but on a pilot stage. So we are developing, we are having educational learners of educational degree that are not yet exposed to such kind of technology. They are still in the 4A schema, the lecture type. So if you are going, so for one, there has to be an integration of that correct type of learning in even in the primary, the teachers themselves. So there has to be an instructional and structural change and rehabilitation, if we may say so. So all items, all variables have to be taken into consideration, since that type of Harvard learning is of a first world type. They have been into so many loops and bounds of change management compared to the Philippines. It's not that we are not saying that we can. You have been there in the kind of educational setup. We can do it, but it takes time, and there has to be a political will at the top level to really change from the basic education, K+12, K+14, etc., up to the higher education.
But I'm glad you mentioned, I mean, the most scarce resource would be the teachers that would know how to use these new technologies and new media. So we have 500,000 public school teachers, we have another 500,000 private school teachers and professors. Right? How many of them would be comfortable, not even here, here? Because they're stuck with the book, the lecture, the curriculum, the syllabus.
Sir, plus,
Yes.
sir, I've been a teacher for, been teaching in medical school since ever since I became 1986.
Okay.
Yung teachers na yan, kasi po sa medical school we have like yung case method, meron kaming problem-based. Hindi po siya nag-move on over the other countries. Kasi sir, yung mindset ng teacher, just as you're talking now, I am thinking, am I ready to relinquish a part of that authority and control? But just as I was telling you, you still need a teacher, di ba? That's what. Pero now as you're talking, I am realizing that I will have to relinquish some control and some authority. Kasi ang mindset po kasi ng teacher is, number one, ang principle niyan, you cannot learn alone, you need a teacher. I don't know if that's still true because I had my principles of teaching decades ago. Tapos, yun nga, sir, kaya nga yung mindset, you still need me.
Yes.
Pero as you're talking, sabi ko, yeah, there will be some areas where I have to relinquish and I have to trust the student will find the door. Kasi sabi nga nila, the teacher is the one that opens the door.
Right.
So I may open the door, I will trust that the student will enter that door. Siguro, may scarcity na teachers, the few teachers that are there, baka hindi pa tama yung mindset. Wala pa siyang mindset.
Yeah, okay. True. So losing control, that's an issue that teachers would have to warm up to now. But there really is a way to not lose control, okay? But it will be a long discussion, but I'll just illustrate it with one example. In the case method, especially now with lots of media, okay, what you can do is group 1, 5 videos, group 2, 5 videos, group 3, 5 videos. Ask them to do a project, etc., etc. And then just have a conversation. And then share everything so that everyone can comment. Okay, and then you just pick out the winners and then find out, oh, they don't get this thing. This is what I will reinforce. So, I don't know if you're familiar with the word apophenia. A-P-O-P-H-E-N-I-A. Apophenia. Apophenia means making connections where none used to exist.
Inibigay mo ng sense ang bagay na walang sense.
That's magic.
It's magic. Yeah, but you will like say you watch two seemingly unrelated videos. Since your mind was working, connect pala to dito. Diba? Okay. Right now, this is where content management system, this thing facet, okay, is most powerful. Okay, if you're watching videos and you want to start tagging is funny, informative, cool, pangit, lousy, boring, whatever. Okay, so that's now what you call metadata. It's not the video itself, but information about the video. So if everybody was tagging, then all of a sudden you say, this is a perfect or great video for knowledge management. And you see, when you click, there are 20 videos on knowledge management.
That assumes that the criteria are the same.
No. You don't need wisdom of the crowds, collective intelligence, crowdsourcing. So as long as you realize that what I donate, okay, that tag that I donate, if there's plenty of us, something will come out. The connections will emerge. So What's that? You're saying?
No, I said I like the randomness of it.
Yes.
Very near.
It's not exciting. That's
Like, the serendipity and the
There's no
randomness.
5S there.
The serendipity and the randomness. Because we're used to the world that everything has to be categorized a priori.
Not following the system.
Di ba?
it validates my condition.
Yeah. So now you know your existence.